Hello and welcome to Kedrick Farms. We're back today with another episode of Mercer County by MRG Mapping and edited by Diniz Farms. And last time we were on this map, we had just harvested our winter wheat. And so now we need to rush and get our short season soybeans planted yet today. Because that's a big part of our plan for making a little bit of money here on this farm. We've got quite a bit of debt at this point, and so we're hoping to have a good yield this year. If we pop open the map here, we've got a number of fields we'd expanded into. So we got corn and beans down in 18 and 22. We've got corn in 24 and 25, beans in 20 here, and this field was winter wheat. Is now going to be some short season soybeans. So let's pop open our HUD here, make sure that we've got everything set up correctly. And we're going to go ahead and get started on this. We are putting down some herbicide alongside of our beans here, just to help cut down on the number of passes we need to take on stuff a little bit later here. Given that they are soybeans, we won't need to put any nitrogen down for them, and so unfortunately the short season soybeans aren't set up with precision farming in order to add any nitrogen back into the soil, so we are losing out on that mechanic. But at least we don't have a need to put any fertilizer down on them right now, so that is going to be a good thing for us as we try to rush and get this job done here before the end of the day. We do have to get them in today. Today is the last day on the planting calendar. We can just bring up the planting calendar here for a moment. We can see we were harvesting our wheat. We wanted to get that done the previous day, but we were having some rain. So if we look here at the short season soybean planting calendar, you can see this is the last day we're going to be able to plant these beans if we want to be able to get them harvested here this year. So we're in a bit of a rush today. Luckily, we've got plenty of time, and the weather is looking quite nice today on the Mercer County area. And so I think the plan is we're going to get the headlands put in here on our beans, and then we're going to switch over for some spraying. You may remember from the previous episode, I had big plans to get a little bit of custom spraying done. And so if we pop open the menu here, you can see we do have two big spraying jobs that are sitting here waiting for us. And we've got the trailer all loaded up with the sprayer. We got the nice Wilson step deck from Perma's Modding all ready to go. So as soon as we get these headlands put in, we'll start off a worker and we'll go grab that spraying contract, or one of those spraying contracts, and see if we can get those done today as well. I'd forgotten that we left our truck sitting up here on the side of the field here. We had been out scouting our fields in the previous episode, and I think that the combine had needed to be unloaded with the grain cart, so we just kind of parked here and jumped out to unload it. And I have to say, once again, I think I've probably said it in previous episodes, but this planter setup and with the tractor, the tanks on the front, it just works really well. Having the ability to switch between herbicide and fertilizer depending on what crop I'm planting really saves us some time out in the field later on. And while we used to have the larger 8030 series tractor on this planter, I really think that the 7830 that we're running right now is probably the better fit. This just feels like a really solid setup. The tractor's not too big for the planter, and everything works really well. I think we are going to take two headland passes here on this end as well, even though we could probably get away without it. I really would like to avoid having the worker turning around on the roads, which they tend to do if I don't take off enough headland passes. I'm going to try and square this up just a little bit. It looks like we were going a bit crooked here on the previous pass. So that's going to wrap up our headlands. Let's now see if the worker's going to be able to successfully take over for us here. I don't anticipate any problems. We've used a worker on this bit before. And so we're going to go ahead and hop out here. And everything's looking good. Actually, I want to hop back in for 1 second and turn the HUD back on just to check our seed and herbicide levels here. It's looking good. Our seed boxes weren't full when we started this off originally, so I'm not surprised that we're already down to 48%. I'm not worried about that, and the herbicide's looking good, so I think the worker's going to have no problems whatsoever finishing up this field here with the planting. So we're going to run up here and grab this truck that we left alongside the field earlier. And we're going to head on into the shop and get our sprayer set up on the road here and out to spraying those fields. I think generally when somebody hires us to do a custom contract, I think they expect it to get done within a certain time frame here. We'd hate to miss out on the appropriate growth stage for those crops and not be able to get those spraying contracts done because it's a substantial amount of money for us. I think between the two contracts, we're going to bring in about $30,000. So that's a lot of money for us right now on the farm. We're really hurting for some cash. And so here we are. We've got our awesome sprayer set up here, and the sprayer's all set up and ready to go on the step deck already. So let's hop in here and get on the road. First things first, we're doing fields 30 and 31, it looks like. So let's take a quick look at the map here. It's these two irregularly shaped fields down in the corner. So let's head on down there and see what kind of setup we've got. So I think the quickest way for us to get down to those fields is going to be to cut across on this crossroad right up here. This is one of my favorite times of year, seeing all the crops getting close to harvest here. I expect to see quite a few of the neighbors out hitting some of this wheat anytime now. Actually, this might be triticale. And so our job is for this farm right over here on our right with the big white buildings there. So I think what we can do is probably go and set up on their farm here. I think that's going to be the best place here for us to unload the sprayer and get all set up and figure out how to get into these fields. I think there's a creek that runs behind this farm, so we're going to definitely need to think about how we get over there. So let's go ahead and pull in to their yard right in here somewhere. See if we can avoid hitting this tree too much. I think we're going to pull right up in around here. We'll have plenty of room to unload the spray trailer. All right, let's hop in the sprayer here. Looks like we've actually got a decent amount of spray in the sprayer itself. Let's pull up and around here and see if we can top off with the tank on the semi here, just to make sure that we've got as much as we need. 0 fertilizer. We should definitely have some fertilizer in here. So let's come in here. It probably just needs to get mixed up. There we go. So we do have water and fertilizer. We just need to turn the pump on. It'll mix up just a little bit here in a second. So let's pop open the menu here. We've got field 31, which looks like corn. Up on the hill, I see a little path to get over the creek here. So we'll probably start with that one before we head over and do field 30. So let's see if we've gotten a little bit of fertilizer here now mixed up in the tank. We're going to go ahead and top off our sprayer and head on over to this field. So we're going to come over here into this grass field. Oh, it looks like there might have been a driveway over there. Our bad. But we've got a fairly substantial concrete bridge here, which is kind of cool. That's going to let us get over here into this cornfield. This corn is pretty tall here for spraying, but we're going to hopefully make it work here. We don't have any height adjustment on our sprayer at the moment, so we're going to have to kind of just wing it here. Hopefully we won't cause too much damage here. I would normally prefer just a slightly higher sprayer than this. And if we just pop open the menu here, we are indeed fertilizing as we go, so everything looks good from that perspective. And so I think we'll take a headland pass here off around the field, and then we'll start trying to figure out the best way to go up and down the rows here. It's a interestingly shaped field for sure back here. This would actually be kind of a fun little farm to run. This map is set up really well, I would think, for multiplayer, kind of like a Marksville, where we've got a number of farms spread out around the map for people to run, and most of them have animals. There's a few arable farms as well. Definitely been enjoying this playthrough though so far. I'll have to add this to the list of servers to consider for one of our multiplayer slots at some point if people are interested though. I think for me, one of the things that I have liked most about this map is the performance. I've managed to maintain a solid 60 frames per second while playing in 4K with my view distance turned up here to 4x in the settings as opposed to the 2x that is available by default. So it's definitely a well done map. Kudos to MRG and Diniz Farms for his edits on this map. It's definitely been one of the funner maps that I've gotten a chance to play on. I guess just because our machine isn't quite getting above the corn, we can raise our boom up a bit, which helps a bit. Now we're not hitting the tassels on all of the corn with the boom. And if we pop the map open for a second, I'm thinking we're going to go up and down east to west here on this field. I think that's going to work out the best given the odd shape of this field. The sprayer section control on this particular mod is going to help us out quite a bit with not overspraying on the sections that we've already hit here. And we've got a nice little creek running around up here. It looks nice. I like it. So this should bring us to our starting headland pass here. And so I think at this point what I want to do is just head back over here to where we were on the far end of this field and start working our way inside. So we've already sprayed a decent swath here. And so we're going to get all set up right here for our GPS track. And hopefully this will work out for us. It's a little bit tough to tell where we've already sprayed. If we pull up the mini map though, it looks like we're doing okay. We're probably a little bit further to the right than we needed to be, but that's okay. And that right boom is still spraying for some reason. Didn't want to shut off there. Either way, I've been really impressed with this sprayer. It seems to be working quite well. It's a little bit smaller than a lot of the self-propelled sprayers that you see, which makes our life easier. And honestly, I don't know that I've ever sat in cab while we were spraying. And so this is quite a good look. Go ahead and get turned back into our rows here. Visibility's not too bad actually in cab for spraying. The corn's a mite high though. A little bit intimidating there. But having the boom up like this, we're able to see the nozzles and the spray pattern here pretty good. This is a lot of fun. I would not necessarily want to drive one of these in real life, though. I think it would be very intimidating to have such a wide implement that you're responsible for. So with that, I think what I'm going to do is actually start a worker off here on the spray. He should be able to handle this without too many problems, given that we took the headland pass off here already. And so I'm going to let him take over here. Hopefully I can find my way out of this cornfield. And we're going to head back up to the farm and check on our planter. So it looks like we're here right in time to catch the final round. Looks like we got 2 passes left here, which is awesome. We're making really good progress on this. If we turn the HUD on here for a second, you can see we're starting to run low on seed, but the fertilizer has not necessarily gone down that much. So we're not using a ton of herbicide here with this particular application. I would have expected to probably use a little bit more than this, but I'm not going to complain at this stage. We've got, and I think we've got some seed in the shed if we need a little bit more seed for the planter. Looks like we're just a little bit wide here, which is okay because we're not getting into our other field. And so I'll be really curious to see when these short season soybeans end up getting ready. So our normal soybeans will be ready to harvest here in day 3-4 of autumn, but because we're planting these a little bit later in the planting cycle, I'm wondering if these won't be ready to harvest until a little bit later in the fall. So I'll be curious because I know in the winter here, the first couple of days in winter, we're already getting potentially freezing weather and stuff. So these short season soybeans may run up against the clock when it comes to getting them harvested in time. So I'm mildly concerned about that, but we'll have to wait and see. That's part of what I like about maps like this that introduce both new crops and new crop mechanics is trying to experiment and see what's going to happen. And playing with seasons is always a little bit of a gamble. There's always a risk that things might not go well, which is a part of farming. So with that, that's our final round here of the short season soybeans. So let's go ahead and get this folded up. We'll run it back up to the farm here and probably get all this stuff washed up, and then we'll head back out and check on how our sprayer's doing. All right, so we're pulling in here, and I wanted to take a moment to comment on the person who pointed out that this seeder has the ability, if I hold down both mouse buttons, I can adjust these rear wheels up and down. And I know at certain points I've been having problems with this planter not going as deep into the soil as I would have liked, and that could very well have been the root cause of that. And so I'm definitely going to have to remember that next time we are planting and I notice that I'm skipping some sections or having a little bit of problems, to check those wheels. I guess it's one of those double-edged swords where the modders are providing lots of customization and flexibility with the mods now, and all these different adjustable parts, both on planters like this, on my tillage equipment. And so I find that more often than not, when I'm having a problem with a mod not quite working perfectly, it's because it's now adjustable. And just like in real life, you might have to make some small tweaks to the depth or angle at which you're doing some work with your tillage or your planting equipment and stuff like this. And so I've just got to pay a little bit more attention to those finer details. So we're going to get this all put away here. We're not going to do any more planting this year, so I'm going to disconnect this for now. We might need to rehook this up at some point to clean out the seeds and chemical. But for right now, we're going to just drop these off so that we've got access to our tractor for some other jobs here. I know we're going to probably be putting this thing back on the grain cart here shortly. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the shed, though, for now. And let's hop out here and see about our spraying contract and see what kind of progress we're making on that. Well, unfortunately, it looks like our worker had to go home for the day. Didn't get nearly as much work done as we were hoping. And so we're going to jump back into this guy and finish up the spraying on this field. If we take a look at the contract, it looks like we're getting pretty close to done here. We're at 92% of the field. And so let's see if we can just wrap this up real quick. I'm actually thinking maybe if we turned and head down the other way there. I don't want to mess up our GPS. We've got a good thing going here. I was just thinking maybe if we went down into that peninsula, we'd have a quicker time covering these last few acres. But you know what? Let's not mess with things. If it's working, I'm pretty sure we're going to wrap this up with one more pass here. I'm thinking that the headland is already shutting off our booms here, so we're getting super close to done, 99% here. So I'd actually, if we turn on our HUD, there we go. We're actually done. So let's fold up the booms and see if we can figure out. We're going to collect that contract. Now we've got to get over to field 30 here. I don't see any more bridges over the creek here. I think we're going to have to go around, which is okay. We're down to 48% fertilizer here in the sprayer. So let's head on back up to the yard and top the sprayer off, I think, before we head out to the other field. Honestly, I think it's a smaller field, so we probably wouldn't need to put any spray into the sprayer here. But it never hurts to just have it topped off, not need to deal with getting all the way back up to the yard because we came up a few gallons short. So we're topping this off. Is that field 30 right there? That is field 30 there. I'm thinking since this is the farmer that owns all of this, we can probably cut across this grass. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. So let's go ahead and head over here. Now, we do have this large grass area here that might be good for turning around. I think we're going to go up and down this way and catch these long rows here. I think that's the plan. We don't necessarily need a large headland pass with the grass area down there. And a few quick passes here, and we'll actually be done with these longer rows. I think it's going to be one whole round here, actually, which is handy. And like I was saying earlier, we've just got a lot of different animal farms here on this map. This looks like another large cow operation here. And because our boom is so wide, luckily we've got sprayer section control, so we're going to be able to shut that left section off and not kill off all the grass here. And just doing this one pass here on this field already, we're already at 55% done with the area on this field, which is actually kind of surprising that we're able to cover so much field in just one round. And so we're going to just keep going on these same back and forth rows, even though it's a little bit shorter. We'd probably be a little more efficient heading down that way, but I'd prefer to stay on the same GPS track here. And quite honestly, in real life, you'd have all your corn rows planted in the same direction in the field. And so we're gonna have to blur our mind a little bit and not pay attention to the fact that all of the rows in Farming Simulator go in 3 different directions. So my guess is all of this corn out here is actually going to get used for silage, most likely, on all of these cow farms that we've got in the area. You see lots and lots of corn out here and a lot of these harvestor silos around, so I'm expecting to see this all get chopped up here sooner than later. It's about at that stage. This should finish us out here on this particular field. We're just about done there. There we go. Our contract is finished on field 30 here. We're going to go ahead and keep spraying to the end row here. And let's get our sprayer all folded up here. And I think we'll probably head back on the road. Let's complete our contract and take a quick look at our finances while everything's folding up. So we did make a fair amount of money today here. We're going to pay down a good chunk of this loan, but we are still at $425,000 out from the bank. So we're definitely not in the clear yet, but this spraying is pretty much what's keeping our farm afloat at this moment. We've done a number of contracts here, and without all of the money coming in from these spraying contracts, I think we'd probably be falling behind the interest rates on that loan. So we're going to definitely need to kind of keep this gig going next spring and summer as well. Hopefully we'll get one more round of spraying on some of the local neighbor fields here before we get to the end of the year. There's usually a little bit more spraying to do here in the summer for different things. If we look at the contracts though, right now we've got different field work and stuff, but no spraying contracts available for us. So with that, I think we're gonna load it up onto our truck here and haul everything back up to the farm. I have really enjoyed this truck and trailer setup. It's worked really well for us as well. The sprayer fits oh so nicely onto the step deck here with the sprayer cradle. So I've got no complaints. This has been a really fun setup here. We've used it now for a few episodes and have had no major issues. So with that, let's head back up to the farm. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for daily farm sim content. Next episode, we're going to be diving into harvesting some of our crops. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Oh my goodness, I didn't notice we were that close. Whoa, GPS. Right into that tree. Oh, come on.